Hey, everybody. So we are getting into chapter 5 today, which overall deals with graphing linear equations and functions. All right. Today we're going to be looking at lesson 5.0. This is kind of an introduction lesson that I'm kind of squeezing in here before we get to 5.1, just to kind of remind you guys how it works to plot ordered pairs on a graph. It's going to be a really simple one, but it's kind of a necessary thing for us to all make sure we remember before we actually get into graphing equations, which if you had a hard time with it in the past, you'll see it's really nothing too difficult. Okay, so first things first, what is an ordered pair? Or actually, I guess first things first, go ahead and copy the title, get this first slide, and then we'll get into it. Okay, so yeah, ordered pair. Basically, an ordered pair, there's a few names I give it. I'll call it the coordinates. I'll call it, x comma y, ordered pair. Those are all basically the same thing. And this right here is an ordered pair, right? Basically, it just tells us where a point goes on a graph, right? The first thing is the first number in our ordered pair is always going to represent where we're going on our x-axis, and then the second number where we're going on our y-axis. And some words you might see ever so often is a domain and range. Okay, if we ever list the domain of of a line, we're listing all of the x values. Same idea with the range, all the y values. Okay, so yeah, I guess one thing, I have attached this printout here. If you'd like to print this out and do your notes today on this graph paper, feel free to. If you don't have a printer, that's okay. You can still just draw some simple graphs, but I'm just, I have this here for you guys if you'd like to print it out. Okay, so first things first, on your first graph, go ahead and copy this here. Just remind yourself what the x-axis is, the y-axis, the origin, the fact that it's called the coordinate plane. So on your first graph, go ahead and get that. Okay, so yeah, our x-axis is this horizontal line that goes, from left to right. Our y-axis, a vertical line up and down, and where they cross each other, this point right here is called the origin of our graph, and its coordinates are 0, 0, because it's 0 on our x and 0 on our y-axis. Okay, and this whole thing here is called a coordinate plane. So yeah, that's just kind of some basics here. Good words to know. Okay, on that same graph, you don't necessarily need to draw yourself another one, but go ahead and list off the 4 quadrants of a graph. This is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so yeah, pretty simple idea. The quadrant number 1 is this top right quadrant, and from there, if you go counterclockwise around the graph, you'll get to 2, 3, and 4. Not something that shows up a whole lot, but it's good to know if they talk about, oh, quadrant 3, they're talking about this one here. All right, so here's what on your next graph, go ahead and draw yourself a fresh one. We're going to be just plotting some points, just practicing it. So go ahead, draw yourself a graph, and then we'll plot these points together. All right, so when you guys go to plot your points, first thing, you will start at the origin, where your 2 axes cross. The first number is where you go on the x-axis left and right. The second number is where you go on the y-axis up and down. All right, so if this is at 1, 2, that means we're going to positive 1 on the x and then up to positive 2 on the y. So that right there is the point for point, 1, 2. And it's called A, so let's go ahead and put an A next to it. Okay, the next point B, it says it's at negative 1, negative 2. So again, back to the origin, we're going to negative 1 on the x, down to negative 2 on the y. There's point B. Okay, point C is at negative 3, positive 4. So again, back to the center, we're going to negative 3 on the x, up to positive 4 on the y. There's point C. Okay, D is at positive 5, negative 6. So we're going to positive 5 on the x, down to negative 6 on the y. There is point D. Okay, these last two, where they have zeros for our x and y value, it's really easy to get these messed up. So be very careful. If I have a point at 0, 3, that means I'm going 0 on the x-axis. That means I'm not going left or right. I'm staying right there. And then 3 on the y would bring me up to positive 3. So this point right here would be E. Okay, just be careful. It would be really tempting to think that 0, 3 is right here. Okay, but no, that would be 3 on the x, 0 on the y. All right, which is kind of what we get to on this next one. F is at 7, 0. That means we're going to positive 7 on the x and then 0 on the y. We're not going up or down. So there's F. All right, so there's a nice little reminder on plotting points. It's really simple, but it's really easy to mix things up. So I just want to make sure we're all feeling good on that. Okay, so for this next practice, I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and draw yourself another graph, okay, and go ahead and plot these points on it, and then we'll see how you did. Okay, so I'm not gonna take too long on this. A is at 1 on the x, 8 on the y. That means we're gonna go to the right 1, up 8. There's A. B is at -2, -4. That means to the left 2, down 4. C, -10, 9. That means we're going to the left 10, up 9. D, 4, -7. To the right 4, down 7. E, 9, 0. To the right 9, up and down 0. And F, 0, -6. That means left and right 0, down to -6. Okay, so just double check your points are exactly where mine are at. If you mixed up some things, just make a mental note. Try not to do it in the future. Okay, so find the coordinates. This is basically having us do the opposite of these last problems. So go ahead, draw yourself another graph, or on your next graph, if you printed it out, go ahead and plot these points here and we'll find their coordinates. All right, so first one, A, we are, right here, this point A, if you guys notice, it's at the origin. 0 on the x, 0 on the y. Okay, here's B. Okay, going back to the center here, it looks like we're at +4 on the x, +5 on the y. All right, just be careful on these. It'd be really tempting to go, oh, +5, +4. Do the y-axis first and then the x-axis. No, be careful. It's always x, y, right? All right, so C is at -2 on the x, +1 on the y, -2, 1. D looks like it's at -7 on the x, but we're not going up or down, so 0 on the y, so -7, 0. E looks like it's at -3 on the x, down to -9 on the y. And F is at +9 on the x, -2 on the y. All right, so I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and try a problem a lot like this. Go ahead on your next graph, plot these new points, find their coordinates. All right, so A looks like it's at 7, 8. B looks like it's at -2, -8. C, -6, +7. D, +9, -9. E, -6 on the x, 0 on the y. And F, 0 on the x, not going left or right, down to -6 on the y. All right, again, I want to point out really, really simple or easy to get those mixed up. So just always remember left and right first, then up and down. All right, so yeah, from here, you guys are going to be doing an AI worksheet. Basically, this is going to be kind of the extension of the lesson / part of the assignment. So what you guys are going to be doing is I have all of these coordinates for you guys to plot. I know it's a lot, but these are really, really quick. So what you're going to do is just start with this first part here and plot these points here. Okay, so and then on the other page, you have this thing, and you're going to be basically, it's going to draw a picture for you. So this first one, 1, -20, that means, sorry, I go to +1 down to -20, and you'd get your first point right there. From here, 1, -19, so to the right, 1 down 19, that would be right here. Sorry. 3 18, so to the right, 3 down 18 should be about there. Okay, and you guys get the idea. Once you guys plot all of these points in this first section, then you'll connect all of the dots. All right, so you'll connect the dots and you'll keep going. And then eventually, after you get through all of them, sorry, I'm just flipping around randomly. Once you get all of them, you'll have a picture and then you'll know, okay, I did it. Okay, so that's the assignment, guys. Go ahead and work on that. If you have any questions, ask me.